Before the cameras found her, before the red carpets, before Hollywood learned how to pronounce her name, Margot Robbie was invisible. Not ignored because she lacked talent, not rejected because she wasn't good enough, but because she came from a place Hollywood rarely looks. Margot Elise Robbie was born on July 2, 1990, in Dalby, Queensland, a small rural town in Australia. This wasn't the Australia people imagine. No beaches, no glamour, no industry, just farmland, long roads, and quiet ambition. Her parents separated when she was young, and Margot was raised primarily by her mother. There was no safety net, no powerful family name, no backup plan. Much of her childhood was spent on her grandparents' farm, feeding animals, working outdoors, learning responsibility early. That environment shapes a person. When you grow up without excess, you learn discipline before confidence. You learn survival before dreams. Margot didn't grow up wanting fame. She grew up wanting control. Control over her future, control over her circumstances, control over the idea that small-town origins define your limits. As a teenager, she worked multiple jobs at once, cleaning houses, serving food, doing whatever paid. Not because she loved working, but because she understood something early. Nothing is handed to you. This mindset, more than talent, would later separate her from hundreds of actresses Hollywood chewed up and discarded. Unlike many actors who chase fame blindly, Margot approached acting like a calculated move. She studied drama seriously. She trained. She prepared. Early auditions weren't glamorous. Low-budget films, small TV roles, but every rejection sharpened her focus. She wasn't trying to be famous. She was trying to get out of limitation, out of invisibility. Her first real breakthrough came with the Australian soap opera Neighbours. In Australia, Neighbours is a career comfort zone. Actors stay. They become familiar faces. They build stability. For many, it's enough. For Margot Robbie, it was terrifying because she saw the pattern. Actors who stayed too long stopped growing. They became known but not respected. Comfort slowly killed ambition. At a moment when most people would relax, Margot did something irrational. She quit. She walked away from stability, income, invisibility. No Hollywood contract waiting, no guaranteed future. Just a belief that staying was more dangerous than failing. That decision wasn't bravery. It was clarity. And it set her on a collision course with a system that wasn't ready for her. Margot Robbie didn't leave Australia chasing Hollywood. She left escaping stagnation. What she didn't know was that Hollywood would test her harder than anything she'd faced before. Rejection, typecasting, silence, and a gamble that could have erased her career before it ever began. Leaving Australia didn't make Margot Robbie brave. It made her vulnerable. Because the moment she landed in Hollywood, she realized something terrifying. Talent doesn't matter here unless the system decides you fit. Hollywood wasn't waiting for her. There were no welcoming auditions, no next big thing label, just endless casting rooms, cold faces, and polite rejections. Margot was suddenly one of thousands, young, ambitious, replaceable. She had left a guaranteed career behind to stand at the very bottom of the industry hierarchy, and Hollywood made sure she felt it. Margot kept hearing the same feedback, over and over again. She's too intense. She doesn't fit the role. She's hard to place. Hollywood loves labels. Girl next door, seductive villain, harmless love interest. Margot didn't fit neatly into any box. She was too confident to be innocent, too sharp to be decorative, too serious to be dismissed. And that confused casting directors. Confusion leads to rejection. This wasn't just emotional, it was financial. Margot wasn't rich. She didn't have family money to fall back on. Every audition rejection meant more pressure. Every maybe next time meant less time. She shared small spaces. She lived carefully. She waited. And waiting is the most dangerous phase in Hollywood because it slowly convinces you to lower your standards. This is where many actors quit. Not because they fail, but because they start doubting why they started. Margot later admitted that this phase tested her confidence deeply. When no one calls, you begin negotiating with yourself. Maybe I should go back. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I'm not enough. But Margot didn't panic. She did something unusual. She observed. She watched how Hollywood treated women, especially young actresses without power, and she learned a dangerous truth. If you wait for permission here, you disappear. Instead of chasing every role, Margot became selective, even when she couldn't afford to be. That sounds insane, but desperation makes you invisible. She focused on impact, not volume. One role that mattered was worth more than 10 that didn't. That mindset saved her. Then came The Wolf of Wall Street. This audition wasn't safe. It wasn't comfortable. It was risky. The role demanded confidence, dominance, and fearlessness, qualities Hollywood often punishes women for showing. Margot didn't hold back. She didn't soften herself. She didn't apologize. She went all in. Instead, it made her unforgettable. Margot Robbie didn't win Hollywood by fitting in. She won by refusing to shrink. But fame doesn't mean freedom. Success didn't free Margot Robbie. It exposed her. Because the moment The Wolf of Wall Street exploded, Hollywood stopped asking who she was and started deciding what she should be. After The Wolf of Wall Street, Margot Robbie was everywhere. Magazine covers, talk shows, industry conversations. But the conversation wasn't about her performance. It was about her body, her bold scenes. Her praised her confidence while simultaneously trying to control it. This is the unspoken contradiction Hollywood runs on. Every interview shifted tone. Questions became smaller, shallower. Her intelligence was ignored. Her discipline overlooked as deeply uncomfortable, not because of fame, but because of misrepresentation. She wasn't being seen, she was being consumed. Offers flooded in, but many of them were the same role, rewritten. Beautiful, disposable, secondary. Hollywood wanted to repeat what worked. Margot saw the future clearly. Stay silent and become replaceable. Push back and risk everything. Most people choose survival. Margot chose resistance. Instead of riding the wave blindly, Margot stepped back. She studied the industry's pattern with women. Short peaks, quick burnout, quiet exits. She understood something crucial. Fame without control is temporary. Margot began saying no. Not quietly, not apologetically. She chose roles that disrupted expectations. In Focus, she balanced glamour with intelligence. In The Big Short, she broke the fourth wall and mocked the system itself. And then came I, Tonya, a role no one expected her to take. Messy, unlikable, human. It was a direct challenge to Hollywood's image of her. Her performance in I, Tonya changed the conversation. Critics stopped talking about her looks. They started talking about her range. An academic award nomination followed. But more importantly, so did leverage. Margot Robbie was no longer just cast. She was listened to. Fame is loud. Power is quiet. By the time Margot Robbie understood this difference, she was already playing a different game than most of Hollywood. While others chased attention, she began building control. In 2014, at the height of her fame, Margot Robbie co-founded LuckyChap Entertainment. This wasn't a vanity project, it was a strategic response. Hollywood offered women roles, rarely authority. LuckyChap was built to change that, to tell female-driven stories that studios often ignored, stories that were risky, uncomfortable, and powerful. Producing gave Margot something acting never could: leverage. Instead of asking permission, she started creating opportunities. Tonya wasn't just a performance, it was a proof of concept. If she could control the story, she could control the outcome. Hollywood took notice. When Barbie was announced, many people laughed. A toy movie? A safe commercial cash grab? They missed the point. Barbie wasn't about nostalgia, it was about narrative control. Margot understood something Hollywood didn't. Barbie was one of the most recognizable brands on Earth, and that made it dangerous. Instead of playing it safe, Barbie challenged expectations. It questioned identity, power, gender roles. Margot wasn't just starring in the film, she was shaping its voice. The result? A global cultural conversation, box office dominance, and a redefinition of what studio films could be. Barbie proved something critical. Margot Robbie isn't just an actress, she's a strategist. She understands branding, timing, audience psychology, and that makes her dangerous in an industry built on predictability. Despite global fame, Margot keeps her personal life controlled. No constant scandals, no emotional oversharing. In Hollywood, that's rare. She treats attention like currency, used carefully, never wasted. Margot Robbie's story isn't finished, but one thing is clear. She didn't climb Hollywood's ladder, she rebuilt it. From small-town Australia to shaping billion-dollar narratives, she represents a new kind of power: quiet, calculated, and permanent. Margot Robbie didn't survive Hollywood. She learned how it works, and then she bent it. The question now isn't how high she can go, it's how much of Hollywood will look different because she was there.